The Spiderverse trilogy, no doubt so far, has been amazing, with brilliant storytelling. Their reimagining of what it means to be Spider-Man has been great to say the least. One of the focal points of that story is coming of age, a pillar of the Spider-Man story as mentioned in previous videos. The most integral part of both stories is the relationship between Spider-Man and their parents. Both Miles and Gwen struggle with their relationship with their parents because they aren't freely allowed to express their interest, and that's a common problem for a lot of people. As individuals, we don't always align with what our parents want, and it is difficult to talk about it. Even though you know they love you, it's scary to expose yourself like that, to be vulnerable to disapproval, to rejection. We don't want that. Miles doesn't want that. Gwen doesn't want that. That's why it's interesting how all of Miles' different parental figure has ultimately made him different from all the other Spider people. Throughout the Spiderverse series, it shows that supportive parental figures are what leads to the success of the children. Miles is able to succeed because he found support from his father, Peter, and Uncle Aaron, as well as Gwen from her father. Starting off with Miles, he has many parental figures in his life. Jefferson, Rio, Peter, and Uncle Aaron all had an effect on Miles' upbringing. To start off, we have Jefferson. Jeff is a strict parent that wants what's best for Miles, and Miles is not receptive to that. Miles doesn't like the burden of expectations. He wishes to be able to thrive on his own, knowing someone is there to catch him. The moment of catharsis for Miles was when he finally felt supported, when he is finally free to take risk and knows someone is there to catch him. During Jefferson's speech, Miles finally knows how his father feels, that he wants him to succeed. For the entire film, he felt his dad was opposing his every decision, his art, his vandalism. He's wasting his potential, a gigantic weight of expectations keeping Miles from reaching higher. But after all that disappeared, that weight has been transformed into a solid foundation below Miles. Now he knows, if he takes that leap of faith, there's something for him to land on. His role evolves in Across the Spiderverse. He feels his son is drifting away from him, and he is clueless as to what he needs to do. In a chat with Spider-Man, aka Miles, he says he's trying to be a good role model, set a good example, which is for Miles, as he later says. He does it all for him. He wants Miles to be an upstanding citizen, which he is, but Jeff doesn't know that, and it leaves him defeated. His son is skipping classes, disappearing all the time, and he does not give an explanation. As a parent, he feels like he's failing. Miles is not the person he wants to be, or so he thinks, but in reality, he has no control in that. He feels responsible for how Miles turns out and blames himself for it. It shows how much he cares about Miles and how they want him to succeed, but perhaps their version of success is a little different. At the end of the movie, he realizes perhaps he has to let Miles do his own thing. This is similar to how Gwen feels. Ever since the death of Peter, her support has been unstable. She's isolated from everyone. She can't even talk to her dad. The person who is supposed to protect you is on a relentless headhunt every day to take you down. She has no one to turn to. In the moment she saw an opportunity, she clung onto it. Gwen obviously does not agree with Miguel's rules, but she has no choice. It was either accept his terms or go home and face her father. We all know which one she chose. Her lack of support has misguided her. She started doing things she does not agree with, but at the same time, she's still stuck by her dad's values. Do it by the book. Gwen follows that book. Even though it is wrong, she does it because it is in her intrinsic value to do it. It took losing Miles to realize perhaps it isn't the answer. Captain Stacy also comes to the same realization when following the book lost his daughter. In their final moments, they reconcile with each other, coming to an understanding between their differences, and Gwen finally has the confidence to go out there and kick some and be herself as Gwen and Spider-Woman. Coming back to Miles, his relationship with his mother plays a crucial role in Across the Spiderverse. Rio was Miles' safe space. He always felt more comfortable around her compared to Jeff. And Into the Spiderverse, Rio was always the more understanding parent, and this continues into Across the Spiderverse. She just wanted Miles to feel loved, like he belonged, which was something he struggled with in the first film and second film. Miles didn't feel like he belonged at Brooklyn Visions. Then he became Spider-Man, and he is more isolated than ever. He went home after the Collider incident, and it was Rio that made sure Miles was okay and allowed him to stay. Even though she doesn't really know why he's there or why he left school, she made sure he felt safe at that moment. Rio also recognized Gwen's influence on Miles. For the first time, she saw Miles light up in a way she hasn't seen. She understands her importance to Miles and encourages him to go, even though it meant she can no longer protect him. This is what allows Miles to flourish, having the security to pursue what he wants, knowing someone is there for him, while having the freedom to pave his path and not be shot down. That is a recipe for success, because Miles knows she will always have his back. That's why Miles feels more comfortable with the idea of telling her he's Spider-Man, because deep inside, he knows that love won't change. Now on to Uncle Aaron, the Prowler. Uncle Aaron was the most supportive of all for Miles. He allowed him to do whatever he wanted. He encouraged his creativity and allowed him to be who he wanted, free from Jeff. This freedom allowed him to develop into who he is meant to be, to discover what he wants, free from his father's expectation. But at the end of the day, they all want the same thing from Miles. They only want to see him succeed. And when Aaron realized he was setting a bad example for Miles, he apologized. In his own words,
"I let you down, man. I let you down."
In a moment of wisdom, he says,
"You're the best of all of us, Miles."
Letting Miles know, even though he might not like his father the same as the rest, it is the combination of all of them that makes him great. Lastly, we have Peter Parker. Peter, although isn't really related to Miles, he's a parental figure in his life. Miles needed a teacher to teach him the ways of Spider-Man, and Peter filled that role. Whether he liked it or not, he was an important figure in Miles' life. Despite his reluctance at first, he grew to be the teacher he needed to be. He taught Miles to take risks, to put himself out there to succeed, no matter how scary it may be. That's something you have to do, and for the longest time, he needed that same reminder. Peter taught Miles how to be Spider-Man, in turn taught Peter how to be Peter. In a way, Jeff and Rio also needed this reminder. Miles is growing up, and a part of that is to let Miles take risk, just as Jeff did with Aaron. The world is an unkind place, but Miles can't be protected forever. He has to go out on his own and spread his wings. He may soar or he may fall, but the most important part is for them to be there. The Spiderverse trilogy so far has shown the importance of parental figures, and I'm excited for the next installment. Sadly, it has been postponed indefinitely, but it is important to fight for the animators, writers, and actors who can't be overworked and must be compensated fairly. I hope Beyond the Spider-Verse will be as great as their predecessors, as these films mean a lot to me, and for sure to millions of others. In conclusion, with great parental figures come great potential success